It was said that no one who ventured into the woods at the edge of Havenbrook Village ever returned the same. The villagers whispered about dark things lurking between the towering trees, but they dared not speak too loudly, for fear that the shadows might be listening. One chilly autumn evening, 15-year-old Ilara vanished without a trace. She was last seen playing near the tree line, her laughter carried away by the wind as dusk began to creep in. Search parties combed the woods, but there was no sign of her, not even a footprint. Days passed, and despair settled over the village, until one night, the attacks began. It started with eerie sounds, strange whispers that floated in through the windows, as if the wind itself were conspiring with something unseen. The livestock were found mutilated, their blood soaking the earth, and the villagers heard things prowling outside their homes, scratching at the doors. Rumors spread that the witches, long thought to be only legend, had returned. These witches, it was said, had once ruled the woods, casting curses on anyone who dared cross into their domain. Ilara's disappearance had disturbed something old, something evil. Late one night, as the village lay in restless slumber, Ilara's best friend, Eerie, woke to a soft tapping at her window. She froze, her heart hammering in her chest. The sound was faint, but unmistakable. Slowly, she pulled herself from her bed and approached the window. There, standing in the moonlight just beyond the edge of the woods, was Ilara. Her pale face was expressionless, her eyes empty. Eerie's breath caught in her throat. Something was wrong. Ilara moved with an unnatural grace, her limbs too fluid, her shadow too dark. "Ilara," Eerie whispered, but the figure didn't respond. Instead, she turned and beckoned, disappearing into the blackness of the forest. Against every instinct, Eerie grabbed her lantern and slipped out into the night. The woods seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and something rotting. As she ventured deeper, the trees closed in, their twisted branches like the gnarled hands of forgotten beings. Then she heard it, the whispers. Low, guttural voices, circling her in the dark, too faint to understand but filled with menace. Eerie spun around, her lantern flickering. She wasn't alone. A shadow darted between the trees, another whisper, closer this time. Fear gnawed at her, but she pressed on, desperate to find Ilara. The ground beneath her feet grew soft, like walking on flesh, and the air grew colder, thick with the scent of sulfur. Suddenly, Eerie stumbled into a clearing. In the center stood a crooked ancient house, its walls sagging, as though barely able to hold themselves upright. And there, on the porch, stood Ilara, her face twisted into a malevolent smile. "Eerie." Ilara's voice was a haunting echo of the girl she once knew. "You shouldn't have come." Behind her, the shadows shifted, revealing twisted, hunched figures with glowing eyes and long, bony fingers, the witches. Eerie tried to run, but the ground rose up, ensnaring her feet. The whispers became a cacophony, deafening and relentless, as the witches closed in. "You're too late," Ilara whispered, her eyes gleaming with unnatural light. "I'm one of them now." With a scream, the darkness swallowed Eerie whole. In the village, the attacks continued, and the woods claimed more souls. No one dared speak of the witches or the lost children, but at night, they still heard the whispers, calling them, tempting them to step into the shadows, and no one ever returned.